Hello, Irish Nation. I am Robin E. Neighbor, and this is another episode of the Golden Domer Homers podcast. Today we have our prognosticator.
Hey, everybody. Go Irish, beat Knowles.
His name's Tyler D. And on the other side, we have our Cub.
Kenny Ball. Yeah, the Cub, very similar to the Bear on ESPN. So we're here to, we're going to preview the Florida State game and get some picks and our lock of the week.
Yep, looking forward to talking about some Notre Dame football and where we're going this year. First things first, I think we're going to do a quick recap of fall camp and what has happened since last time we talked. The major thing is the injury to linebacker Maris Liufau, which is a very unfortunate situation with the offseason hype he came into and the season he was primed to have.
Yeah, I had Maris as my breakout player, so I was definitely hurting seeing that news. Thankfully, you hear about injuries in fall camp, and it seems like every year it's somebody. I know Alohi Gilman got hurt in camp and had to sit a little bit. It's happened a lot in the past, but we made it out of camp with one injury. Hate to see it's just him, but glad it's not worse.
Yeah, no broken collarbones this year like last year with Keys or 2 years ago with Keys, Komet, and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think you come out of fall camp with one injury. For what Notre Dame's had in the past, that's a blessing. You hate to see him get hurt, but just one guy, and I know Ty was your breakout player, but the good news is with the recruiting the way it's been up at Notre Dame, man, it's really they got that next man in mentality, and they've been good. They got the kids that step up and play, and so I think they'll be all right at that position. And but everything else I saw from fall camp looks like these dudes are coming in. They look like they're in shape. Michael Mayer is just a stud. I know Kirk Herbstreit called him the best tight end in the country the other day, so definitely excited to see what he does this year. But yeah, kind of a blessing. Only one injury, even though you hate to see it.
Yeah, not to mention, I mean, as much as we all love Maris and heard what he was going to be, we haven't seen him be a stud yet. Not that Shane Simon instills any confidence in anybody, but J.D. Bertrand is supposed to be having a really good offseason as well. Every little bit of film we saw, he's around the ball. He looks like he's cut out of out of stone. He looks like a little statue, and I'm confident with what we've got coming back. Not to mention, Prince Kali, the freshman, he might see a little time there. I wouldn't be surprised. He's thick. He's bigger than everybody thought he'd be.
Yeah. Like I said, not too worried about it.
No.
I think they got that next man in mentality, and we'll see what we got next week.
Absolutely. Yep. So just bouncing around college football, had the alliance happen between the Big Ten, ACC, and the Pac-12. Honestly, it just doesn't really mean much. I think it's probably good for Notre Dame in the long run, but what do you guys think about it?
Well,
go ahead, Ken.
I think it goes back. We talked on the first podcast, we talked about Notre Dame forming this conference and kind of like I think Robbie's, his quote was throwing their weight around and seeing what people kind of how it affects the landscape of college football. Looks to me like this is what happened here. I mean, you got these three conferences coming together. Let's be honest. They're not doing it so, Arizona can go play Rutgers. I mean, let's be honest. It just seems like Notre Dame was at the front of this, and they want to continue to play that national schedule, and this is going to allow them to do it and probably get the teams, like Michigan State. They got Purdue this year back on the schedule.
Ohio State next year.
So they're going to be able to keep those rivalries, and then they'll grow now because they'll be playing Clemson. I know they're playing them in the ACC right now, but you'll bring in those Big Ten schools and those Pac-12 schools. Biggest question for me on the alliance is, I mean, is the Big 12 just SOL or what?
Yeah.
What happens?
Where's the Big 12 at? Yep.
Yeah. So do some of those teams join somewhere, and then on top of that, what happens to the group of 5 teams? You got like UC's in the top 10 this year. You got these other teams. So, the alliance, like you said, doesn't mean a ton right now, but eventually it feels like for Notre Dame it's going to be a great thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's a future super conference. What the SEC is pushing for, it's what they're kind of planning for on this side, kind of thing.
Absolutely. It just seems like something to combat the SEC. The SEC.
Yep. And I gotta think Swarbrick had his hand in it. So.
Oh yeah, you got to think. I mean, Notre Dame's got a better relationship with teams in all three of those conferences than any other team in any of those conferences. You know, how often does Ohio State talk to USC and Stanford? We talk to them every year.
Yep.
You know, we're partial members in the ACC. We're playing Big Ten teams all the time, share geography. So, yeah, like you said, got to think we had a big key in that happening.
Yeah, you mean Northwestern hasn't spoken to Oregon State recently? You don't think?
Yeah, big game there.
I don't know.
That's a big game.
If College Game Day ever comes to Evanston for that one, though, I'm in.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Road trip.
Yeah.
Other than that, we had live college football this weekend, boys. I think it's nice to see some crowds again. I don't know about you guys. I mean, the crowds at UCLA, but
they look good with that Michigan transfer at running back.
I think Scott Frost's seat's on fire after that loss, but glad to see football again.
Yeah. I just want to jump back real quick. I know we're in football, but talking about the conferences, my other major question, and like I said, I know it's football season. What happens with basketball? I think that's something we put on the back burner for now as it comes, full circle into the basketball season. That may be something we come back to. But that's my other big question there is what happens with basketball. I mean, again, back to the Big 12. Kansas is really good at basketball, but I'm not sure they could beat some high school teams in the country at this point in football. So
yeah. Baylor's the same, not the same way, but Baylor basketball is better than Baylor football is right now.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think Syracuse and Pittsburgh being the first two teams that kind of kicked off realignment, and Nebraska kicking off realignment back a few years ago, proved that football is what drives the bus. As far as scheduling, I think a benefit basketball has, it seemed like a lot of out-of-conference games get scheduled a year out versus football where it's like, oh, we're playing Florida in 2050 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So a little bit more room to work with. That I think favors basketball definitely.
Yeah. Sure. I just wanted to, kind of throw that out there because I think that is going to be a question moving forward.
I mean, Kansas basketball is a big get for any conference, no matter how you want to look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But nonetheless, glad to see college football. Already 0-for-1 this year on my bets. I will not bet Scott Frost again this year. But good to see college football. Good to see fans in the stands.
Yeah. I got real sick of betting on college football the year that in one day I took Bama to make the college football playoffs, and I took the points in Notre Dame versus Michigan, and then that was that terrible night at Michigan, and then that same day Tua broke his hip. So
Yikes.
I kind of quit betting.
Smart. You got more money than all of us.
Nah.
So, going to you, Robbie. How we looking on the recruiting trail?
Recruiting trail is heating up a little bit with the Carnell Tate commitment September 8th. It's pretty much down to Notre Dame and Ohio State. And from everything I'm hearing, it's straight toss-up. Crystal balls are split. Podcast guys are all split. Ohio State guys think we're getting them. They're getting them. Notre Dame guys think we're getting them. I'd put my money on Notre Dame by this much, but we'll see how that goes. Other one is Billy Schrouth.
Robbie, where's he from? Is he from Ohio?
He's originally from Chicago. He was going to I forget the name of the school in Chicago, but he transferred down to IMG in Florida with COVID when they weren't playing football in Illinois and they were in Florida. So he went down there last year and he's still there. Caught a nice one-handed touchdown yesterday too.
Nice.
He's a stud. He'd be a big get with what we got with CJ and Tobias. And did you see that Amorion Walker catch that I retweeted? That kid can play too for being our worst recruit in that class.
Yeah.
The next name on the list I had was Billy Schrouth. It sounds like we're probably going to go ahead and lose him to Wisconsin, unfortunately. I don't know what went down there completely, but it just sounds like we haven't given up. We're still on him, but he's leaning pretty heavy towards his home state team.
Well, maybe if he can wait until the end of September.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We'll see what happens up in Chicago.
What class is he in?
He's 2022.
2022. Okay.
Yep. And he is probably other than Zach Rice, our highest rated recruit as far as who we're targeting. And Zach Rice is one I'd really like to get, but he seems to be doing a lot of North Carolina retweeting lately. Next on my list was Hero Canoe, who we threw on our board. The Irish did after the Darren Agu decommitment. Was it Darren Agu? Yeah. Who went down to Vandy. He was kind of a loss, but he's a 3-star kid. He's a lot of upside, but he followed Clark Lee.
Cool name.
But Hero
too.
Canoe, yeah. I like Hero Canoe a lot, though. I like his name, and I like the way he plays. He's out of Germany. He just moved to California. He's a stud. Ohio State. I mean, you look at his top 10, he's got them all there. It's Ohio State, Bama, Clemson, Oklahoma, LSU. You name a blue blood, he's got it on his top 12.
Nice.
Now, the last one is our number one recruit that I'm looking for in the class right now is Xavier Nwankpa. Somehow, Iowa has thrown their names into the plan. I mean, he's an Iowa kid, but I didn't think there was any chance he was going there. But all the kid's doing right now is retweeting Iowa stuff, so I'm hoping they have not made too much of a push because I was leaning heavy. His mama always retweets Notre Dame stuff and really wants him to come up to South Bend. So other than that, I don't have a whole lot going on right now. There's not a lot of news. We're kind of in the dead period for recruiting with it being August. There's some visits and stuff coming up. I know we've got a big class coming to a USC game. So
Awesome.
if we're up there for that, go watch the player walk because you're going to see all of the recruits. Every one of them will be there.
Good deal.
But that's recruiting for right now.
Awesome. Sounds like we're doing pretty good. Good news on all fronts.
We're still top 5.
Yeah. Can't beat that.
Yeah.
Going to our game, week from tonight, Doak Campbell, 7:30 kick. Yep. Going against the Seminoles. It'll be our first trip back there since we were robbed in 2014. Honestly, the weirdest Notre Dame football season in recent memory, where we're 6-0 and lose to the Florida State returning national champions on a bullcrap call, and then your season just falls apart and you end up
derailed us.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mike Norvell coming into year 2 there. They were 3-6 last year in his first season, 2-6 in conference. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Kenny.
Well, I look at some of these college football guys, and I see they got like 7 returning starters on defense, a defense that was very bad last year. I went back, took a look at the stats from the Notre Dame Florida State game last year. Notre Dame ran for 353 yards. I think that I think that trend continues this year. Kyron Williams is too good. Chris Tyree, I think. So I think we're going to run the ball well. It's going to be good for the first game for Cone. I think there's going to be a lot of handoffs, a lot of runs, like I said, and then that hopefully opens up the passing game, and we do throw it around a little bit, and we use those weapons like Kevin Austin, Braden Lindsey, and Michael Mayer. But like I said, 353 yards rushing last year in a game that was kind of back and forth for a while, and then the whole first quarter. Looks like end of the first quarter, it's 17-14 Florida State last year. A lot of scoring in the first quarter. Then Notre Dame rattles off 21 points in the second quarter and takes a 35-20 lead at half, and there wasn't a ton of scoring in the second half. I think the spread is 8 early on. I think I'm probably going to bet it. Although Notre Dame didn't cover last year. They won by 16. They were 20.5-point favorites at home. The one question mark for me, we've mentioned this, they're going to Doak Campbell Stadium. Hasn't been a full stadium for a year. They're excited to get this second year under Norvell, I think. He always had pretty good offense at Memphis. So they still have some question marks themselves. But I think Notre Dame, pretty confident they can go in there and win the game and cover.
I completely agree. What was you got it pulled up still? What did Javon McKinley do that game again? I know that was his big breakout performance.
5 receptions, 107 yards. He did not score a touchdown.
Yeah.
But he had 5 receptions for 107 yards.
And that was on Asante Samuel Jr., who was following him around last year, who is no longer there. I think he's a Charger now. So they lost that guy who was their best coverage guy, who we picked on, and now they get to deal with Kevin Austin instead of Javon McKinley. Nothing against McKinley, but I'll take Austin all day, every day, and twice on Sunday.
I agree. Yeah. And then, like I said, 2 100-yard rushers last year with Williams and Tyree. I think
and
that's
Book put in 50-something.
Like I said, and Book had 58. Book threw for 201 yards. So it's not like he didn't throw the ball well last year against them. You can throw it against them. But I think that rushing game is gonna open up the passing game, and Cone hopefully can get the ball to those playmakers on the outside.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Lindsey was also hurt that game. So one of our better deep threat options was not there. Who's going to be there this year, hopefully.
Yeah. And then, you run the ball and you get the 3rd and goal down on the goal line, and you just dump it to Michael Mayer. It's a touchdown every time. So, we talked on the last pod a little bit about the offensive line. I'm excited to see what they do. I don't think Florida State's D-line is going to be very good. So we should handle the line of scrimmage. If we don't, I think we have questions next week when we come on the pod and we say what's going to happen. Because let's be honest, the first 3 games are very winnable. They're all winnable, but Wisconsin's where if we can't handle the line of scrimmage against Florida State team that's got pretty bad line on both sides of the ball, we better take a step back.
Now, I will say I'm not going to overreact in the first 3 to 5 drives of the game with a brand new O-line, brand new quarterback, new receivers. So if we go the 3 and out a couple times early on, I'm not going to freak out. I will freak out, but I might tell myself not to. But I got a feeling we probably put up close to 42, 45 points in this game, hopefully.
Yeah, if we do that, I think that's an easy
route.
Yeah, I agree. I think all signs are pointing to us being able to run the ball down their throat. So if we could do that, open up the pass game and
hit Lindsey for a couple.
Own the trenches. Yeah, I think one thing we didn't mention, Bobby Bowden passing away. That's another motivation factor for Florida State.
It is, but half these kids don't really remember who he is.
Sure, but I'm sure they're going to have a big old tribute video, and it'll be an event. As it should be. So
I'll tell you this. They go the first 3 or 4 drives, 3 and out. Ty and I are going to be watching the game together, and it's not going to be pretty. We're going to need someone to calm us down.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have
2 meltdowns.
I'm hoping we get one of those real early run it first down, and then just play action to Lindsey for about 60, 70 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, or we just, like last year against Clemson, just feels good when Kyron Williams breaks one for 65 and just,
Yeah, take the crowd out.
Yeah,
I'd
like that
for a few years ago. Scored on the opening drive, scored on the second drive, and then kick a field goal, and you could have held Mass in there.
Yep.
Yeah, 2018. Yeah, they took them right out of it.
I
think that'll be the key this week. Like I said, I think the crowd is a factor.
Yeah.
I've been down there for a game. It's crazy. And I was just there for like a Chattanooga game, and those people still showed up and did their little chant. So to get them out of it early and just keep foot on the gas.
Here's a bold prediction for you. I do believe either throwing or rushing, Tyler Buckner gets in the end zone for this game. I think we're going to go ahead and use him as soon as we get in the red zone. Maybe even the first time we're in the red zone, go ahead and throw Tyler Buckner in there inside the 10. Let him run it in.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what he does and see what his role will be on this team. We mentioned we think he's probably not a 4-year player anyway, but I'm interested to see what his role is on this team, and maybe it is just that in the red zone he comes in and gets it done.
Tebow's it.
Yeah,
Tebow, Chris Leak style. back when Florida won that national title with it was a 2-quarterback system, but Tebow basically ran that goal line red zone offense, and Chris Leak was the quarterback the rest of the time.
Yep. Speaking of quarterbacks, looks like Florida State still down there flipping a coin to see who's going to play this week. Mackenzie
We're not there this year.
He had a really nasty injury, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. Transferred from UCF to play for Norvell, and then this Jordan Travis played against us last year, gave us some fits. So it'll be interesting to see who they run out there. I'm sure you got a little different preparation if you're Notre Dame. But I'm hoping either way, offense puts up enough points, and we don't have to really worry about that.
And that's what I mean, looking back, I know historically we've always had a little bit of issue with mobile quarterbacks. So I think Florida State might have an interest in trotting out Jordan Travis, but this new Marcus Freeman defense, I'm less worried about everything we've always struggled with the way he plays defenses. Way more open, way more fly around and cause havoc. And I hope they trot Jordan Travis out there is what I'm saying. Mackenzie Milton scares me more than Travis in a way, but I can see where Travis could instill some confidence with his success last year, being up almost was the first quarter at halftime when they were up.
First quarter.
Yeah, first quarter they were up on us, and he was looking pretty good early.
Yep.
Yeah.
Until Wusu Koromoa helicoptered him in the air. But
that was a weird game last year. I remember watching that. And the whole time it's just back and forth in the first quarter, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? And then it kind of had the same thing. I think Clark Lee just figured it out. And it was, they didn't do much in the second half, and Notre Dame didn't have to do much in the second half, so they did offensively. So,
yeah. So I think looks like we'll jump into some picks for the week if you guys are on for that. Looks like we've covered about all our bases on our game.
Yeah, as far as that goes, the last thing I'd mention in that is I'm looking forward to seeing what our D-line does against that offensive line at Florida State that is Swiss cheese.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
There's
that
holes
was their
everywhere.
weakness last year. It was evident. So hopefully it still is. And
Now they got
what I'm looking at, it should be.
Yeah, now they've got a Notre Dame third stringer starting to right guard for him. So we'll see what what goes on there.
So going into picks, let's just pick our game first since we're it's fresh in our heads. Obviously, I'll go first on this. I'm going to take Notre Dame straight up and to cover.
Kenny?
sorry, I was on mute. Yeah,
You're good.
I got the Irish to cover, Irish to win. In a big first win, and I think we mentioned it, Freeman. I think the defense plays well. I'll say Notre Dame wins by 17 points at least.
That's what I'm going to say. That 8.5 point spread, I'd double it, and I'd still be halfway tempted to take us with the points because I think it could very easily be a 3-touchdown kind of game, like a 31-10, 35-10 type of game. But we'll see. I'm confident.
I agree.
I'm just beating a dead horse at this point, I think, but only thing you got is you're going on the road, tough environment, new quarterback. But I just don't think – it's not like Jack Cohn hasn't played in the horseshoe. It's not like he hasn't played in the big house.
Played in the
Rose Bowl.
The Rose Bowl. It's not – I mean, it's not
been
like
there.
it's the first big stadium he's played in. He didn't come from the MAC or UC for that matter.
True. Speaking of Wisconsin, next game I've got Penn State at Wisconsin. Who you guys liking there?
I like the Badgers. I took Penn State's under last week. I think Wisconsin too much on offense. Penn State, they got a returning quarterback, but I think Wisconsin, but in a close one. I don't, the spread I think is 4.5.
Yep.
I might not take Wisconsin minus 4.5, but I think they win the game outright.
Yeah, I'm with Kenny. I'm taking Wisconsin. I don't like Penn State quarterback very much. I think James Franklin is Jim Harbaugh with a lucky, would he block a field goal one year or something, or hit a field goal against Ohio State in a wideout?
Yeah.
He's no different than Jim Harbaugh in that way. He just got lucky once. He recruits pretty good, I guess. But No, I think I'm taking Wisconsin by a score of 31-24.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I like Wisconsin by 7 to 10 points. I think they're just a better team, and Penn State was abysmal last year, like the Badgers. So,
Yep.
going west, LSU and Coach O head to the Rose Bowl to play UCLA.
I'll start off here.
Yeah,
Give me the Bruins.
Bruins.
I second that. I think you hate to see what's going on down in Louisiana right now. You don't know. Are they? I'm assuming they had to evacuate the football team. Or are they still down there?
I'm
Yeah,
not
they
sure,
should-
but it's bad timing. Bad timing.
Yeah,
They probably went out west already, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I think we're going to see a little bit of what happened with Georgia coming to Notre Dame. I think there's going to be more purple in that stadium than blue.
Yep.
Than blue and gold. But I watched UCLA last night. That Dorian Thompson-Robinson is a stud, and
Dude, Zach Charbonnet is a stud.
Yeah.
Talking about
And
Jim
they-
Harbaugh letting the wrong people go.
it just seems like this is a different year for them. I think it's a year that the Pac-12 is kind of wide open.
They're down.
And so I think this is the year that Chip Kelly has to win. And I am going with UCLA in this game.
I agree with Kenny completely. I'm
UCLA
following the
outright.
that Chip Kelly.
We're not picking
Yep.
spread.
Right.
No spread. With the spread, I think UCLA might jump on them. I think that LSU defense is good on the edges. They got that Derek Stingley and the other cornerback, I forget his name, but he's a stud too. But, man, they got dominated last. They gave up 30-something points a game. And Zach Charbonnet was averaging – what did he go off for, like 7 carries for 108 yards and 2 touchdowns or something last night with Dorian Thompson-Robinson throwing all over the place? I just don't think LSU and – was it Danny Etling? Is that the quarterback's name?
Don't know
I
that.
think it's – all I know is Jamar Chase went to one practice last year and decided he wasn't going to play no more.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I'll take the
I'm with both
the
you
Bruins.
guys. I got the Bruins as well. I think Chip's going to get it done, and they look. I mean, they like we just said, they look great against not the best team in the world in Hawaii, but dominated them. So
Jumped him.
be at home, and I think they get the win. Going back to the Prairie, Indiana goes to Iowa City to take on the Hawkeyes. Kenny, what are you thinking?
I have Indiana's under for the year. I'm going to go. This is one of the games I think they lose. I'm going to go with Kirk Ferentz and the Iowa Hawkeyes in this one.
Who you got, Tidy?
I'm with UKB. I like Iowa as well. I think Indiana's offensive line has been talked about as not being very good, and I think Iowa dominates in the trenches and wins at home to start the season.
I think Penix has a big game. Indiana wins it. Notre Dame, the number one recruit on my board for Notre Dame, Xavier Nwankpa, will be there, and I hope he gets to witness an L for his Iowa Hawkeyes that he's jumped on lately for no reason.
I'm with you too. Watching Iowa lose to the premier basketball school in the Big Ten would hopefully steer them our way a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see any reason why we need to see Iowa look good. So give me the Hoosiers.
Yeah, I just think Indiana's pretty overvalued right now. I think all they've been hearing is how good they were last year. And I think maybe come in a little, their heads, big heads, and maybe not lay an egg, but don't play as well. And I can tell you, this is a game that if you don't like watching the I formation, don't watch it.
I'll tell you, there's a couple fun things though. Is Indiana does have their playmakers back with Penix. They've got Freifogel, who was top 10 or top 15 in big plays last year, and they got a big transfer from I forget who it was, but he's a receiver that is going to replace Walt Fillier, who was there. I guess he was there like the mid-range, like their pass catcher that was solid last year. I got a feeling that Indiana offense is going to be good. I'm just worried about if that Iowa offense will slow the game down enough to keep them off the field. That's what scares me there. That offensive line and run game. Because they're not going to get a chance. They're not going to get a chance to pick off 3 or 4 passes like they did against Justin Fields in that game they stayed in.
Right.
So.
Moving to what some would call the game of the week. I think the game of the week is whatever game Notre Dame's playing in every week. But Georgia. going to Death Valley at Clemson. I'll go ahead and lead
This
off
game-
with Clemson.
Is this game in Death Valley or is this a neutral site?
I thought it was at Clemson.
I
think
thought it was
this
at
is
Clemson.
Really?
I'm not sure on that though. Clemson's
I'm
definitely the
looking
home
right now.
team, but I don't know if it's at Clemson or not. Well, let's do some
Yeah.
research.
Well,
I'm looking
regardless,
right now.
I'm going to take Clemson. I just think they're a lot better. I think we saw Uyunglele.
This game is
DJ.
in. It's in
Uyunglele. Uyunglele.
That's it.
let's not just call it Georgia versus Clemson. Let's call it what it is: the Duke's Mayo Classic. It is in Charlotte, North Carolina, Bank of America
Yes, it is.
Stadium.
You're right.
Okay.
Yep, there it is. It's a doubleheader game.
Well,
I
go ahead.
think, Ty, you went with Clemson.
I did go with Clemson. Playing in the Death Valley of the North Carolinas is what I meant.
Yeah, I think I like Clemson. It's hard to pick against Dabo Swinney, in my opinion. We watched DJ Uyunglele last year. I think that kid's unbelievable.
That's my Heisman pick right there.
But he's really good. How do you pick against Brent Venables? That guy, I mean, other than Clark Lee, Marcus Freeman, Brent Venables, those three are like top notch. Now Lee's obviously a head coach, but it's hard to pick against Swinney and Venables. So I got Clemson in this one, but I got Georgia to win the SEC East this year. I know we talked about that last week a little bit as well. So I think this is Georgia's one loss, early loss, and it doesn't. National media makes good points. I don't really think it means anything. The loser's not out. The loser's not out of the playoff. So this is one of those
especially
games
not Clemson, because Clemson's going to win the ACC unless Miami turns out to be worth a damn. But I just personally don't think they're not. They're very good.
I don't even think Miami's their biggest threat, to be honest.
Oh, I don't know who is. I think Clemson's so far ahead of everybody else in that conference that they can lose this game and they'll win everything else by so much that they're in automatically on their ACC conference championship bid.
Clemson to cover. Clemson to cover in that one.
-4.
Yeah.
-4.
See, that's where I'm at. I got Clemson winning by 3, and they're not covering. I think they win on not a last-second field goal, but a last-drive field goal where they'll have the last possession. And I think JT Daniels is going to keep Georgia in it. As much as I hate USC quarterbacks, I think he's probably the best one in the last, Sam Darnold was overrated in my opinion, but we'll see. I think that Georgia team, Kirby Smart can't coach against good coaches, and Dabo Swinney and Brent Venables are good coaches. And that offensive, what's his name? That's going to bother me. Can't remember his name, but that offensive coordinator at Clemson, he's right there. He's right there as a top 5, 6 offensive coordinator. But I got Clemson. I got Clemson by 3. If I was betting it, I'd bet Georgia to cover.
All right. Speaking of betting.
Elliott. His name's Elliott. Last name's Elliott.
Okay.
Tony Elliott. There it is. Tony Elliott.
There it is. You guys go ahead. Like Ty said, lock of the week. You guys go ahead. Ty, what do you got?
I got it. I got Ohio State -14.5 at Minnesota. I think they're the best team in the Big Ten by far. I think Minnesota's not going to be very good. I think they had that first, kind of good year under Fleck and then went backwards pretty bad last year, how they lost to Jim Harbaugh in Michigan. I think Ohio State goes in there and wins by 4 touchdowns.
I think that's a good pick.
Who you got,
KB?
I'll tell you what. I think – I don't know. I kind of went back and forth on this, and you know what? People are going to be mad that I did this, but I'm going to lay the 8.5 with the Irish at Florida State, and that is my lock. I am going to take the Irish by at least 2 touchdowns in this one. Like I said, I think Freeman's defense and Tommy Rees has been calling good. I have not had a complaint with that guy's offensive play calling since he started, especially after Chip Long left, because that was pathetic toward the end of that year. So what was it? That was 2019. That was horrible Virginia Tech game was his last game. I remember, Ty. You and I looked at each other like, "What is going on?"
He might as well have maroon and orange on the way he was calling that game.
Yep. I am going to go with the Irish 8.5. Lock it in.
All right. So I'm coming with a bit of an oddball, both unranked, but both big name group of 5 teams. It is a UCF 5.5 point spread over Boise State. I'm taking Boise State to go ahead and beat them straight up. So
Nice.
give me that one. I think UCF is what lost. They lost their last 2 or 3 coaches now.
Well, it'd be 3. Well,
there was Frost. There was the one at Tennessee, and I don't remember if they got the one they had after that or if he.
It was George O'Leary before that, but he retired.
Yeah. So I'll give them 2 since they've been national champions.
Yep.
So I'm taking Boise over UCF.
No faith in Gus Malzahn?
No.
He's the head coach down there now.
Or is it? Is that
what
the
is you?
bounce house or is it on the blue turf?
It's
in the bounce house.
It's at the bounce house.
Okay.
I think Boise gets them though.
And that,
I just like that.
That's an early week game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's early. It is
Probably Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday night at 7. Or no, the wrong one there. Where are we? Yeah. 7 p.m. on ESPN.
ESPN.
Yep. I'll be watching.
Yep.
Then,
I'll be watching every game just about.
Oh yeah, I'm just excited for football to be back on.
That's what this first week I'm gonna have like 3 or 4 TVs set up in the living room for
there you go.
Everything going on.
Final pick here. We're gonna do similar to what they do on College Game Day. We're gonna do a super dog. So someone who's an underdog by 7 or more points, we'll call it, that you think can win outright, but will certainly cover the game. Ty, you want to lead us off?
Yeah. I hope you boys took some Dramamine and you're ready to ride the wave because I am. I got Tulane getting 26.5 points against Oklahoma. They're my super dogs.
We'll see. I think Oklahoma might blow them out by a lot, but I don't hate it.
First to 100 wins whenever you play them. They don't play any defense, so.
Neither team.
This year.
Huh?
They're supposed to be better this year, but we'll see.
Big 12 defense is a joke. Although they're an SEC team, so hopefully they can adjust to that in the future.
We'll see.
Robbie, who's your super dog?
My super dog is the team that beat Bear on ESPN's The Bear on College Game Day's favorite team, Iowa State, 31-14 last year, the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana. They're playing Texas, who is the most overhyped team in the world. Yeah, all day, every day. Let's go. Give me the Raging Cajuns to not just cover that, but kind of beat the crap out of them again.
I like it. That would be good for my Texas under win total pick from last week. I'll tell you, being a Notre Dame podcast, I don't like Michigan. And there's one school that I definitely like, maybe less or dislike more than I hate Michigan, and that is USC. And my super dog of the week is the real Spartans, San Jose State. Already got one game under their belts yesterday. They are currently on ESPN a 14-point underdog. I look for them to cover that, and I think that's a close game in the Coliseum. See what happens late, but I love the 14 points there. They're a team that surprised everyone last year. I'm pretty sure they won the Mountain West. So they're going to come to play, and I'd love to see them, go out and knock UC off, or USC off in this home opener for them.
I'd love to see a shootout in that game. A shootout would be fun. It might favor the blue Spartans.
I just think, that's one of those games that maybe it's close late and you can maybe squeak one out. Close late is good, obviously, for the bet at 14. I'm going to go with them and let it ride. That game is on Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So,
all right, we got nothing to worry about being the only ones on Sunday, so we can watch all the games on Saturday.
That's right.
Yep, looking forward to it. This this weekend was good, but there weren't. It was good to get football back on, but not enough.
I enjoyed that missed field goal to blow the over under in that Illinois-Nebraska game.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Oh,
That's why I quit betting
horrible
football.
for an
I'll tell you what to
overtime.
bet, but I ain't going to put my money on it. That's where I'm at in life.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes, and we will keep track of these bets, and we'll keep like updates. We'll keep records for us, and we'll see how it
Figure
goes.
out ways to. We doing locks of the week as well?
We did.
Yeah, we already did that.
Okay. Let's think real quick. Bold predictions for week 1, Notre Dame, Florida State. Off the top of your head, what you got, Tidy?
Let me go third.
You got a
go
bold prediction,
first,
Kenny?
Bobby. You
So
go
my first one
'cause
was
I know what yours is, but
my first one was the Tyler Buckner touchdown. That's my definite bold prediction. My other, if I had to come up with a bold prediction other than that, I'm going to go with Michael Mayer, 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards receiving. I think he eats.
yeah, I was going to say, we kind of talked a little bit about their defensive line. I'll say the Irish have 2 100-yard rushers again, and another, and that'll be Williams and Tyree, Tyree, I think. And then I'll say another 100-yard receiver.
Yep.
Who it'll be, I'm not sure. I'd like it to be Lindsey or even Kevin Austin. That'd be awesome.
Kevin Austin would be great. Kevin Austin would be very,
think-
very promising.
So I'll say Kevin Austin, 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. Kyron Williams over 100 yards, and Tyree over 100 yards.
I like it.
Nice. I'll go to the other side of the ball and talk about our best player. I'm going to call a Kyle Hamilton, not just a pick. I'm calling a pick 6. I'm calling a pick 6. I think they're going to try and run the ball, and they're going to not be able to. They're going to scramble, pass it. He's going to pick it off and take it home.
You heard it from the prognosticator up there. So,
Yep, excited about my boy Houston Griffith. We'll see how he does this week. Hope he has a good week.
he was my bold season. He was my whole season bold prediction was
Yep.
Houston Griffith leads the team in picks. That's my full season bold prediction right there. With six interceptions this year for Houston. That's my guess.
That'd be a huge year.
Yeah. I think he gets a lot of tip passes, and I think he benefits from them throwing away from Kyle.
That's true because he is on the other side of the field. So.
Yep. Well, I think that about does it for this podcast. It's been another good week.
Absolutely.
Signing off.
Looking forward to being 1-0 next week. Ride the wave. Go Irish, beat Knowles.
We'll see you.
Ty took the words out of my mouth. Go Irish, beat Knowles.
Go Irish, baby. All day, every day.